Hi, my name is Daniel, and this is my video submission for personal reflection for Module 3. Um, so this one, these set of chapters, this material focused on older patients. So patients who they could be in a care home, in palliative care, hospice care is possible too, end of life where you have about 6 months at max to live out the rest of your life. And there were parts in here about the diagnoses of diseases that elderly patients get. And the one that got me was for sure dementia and Alzheimer's, because that's what my grandmother has. And as I'm reading some of the facts in there, like loss of sense of time and memory recall, and these are kind of general things that we all knew, but there was one in here that, like, I remember calling my dad after I read this, was a signifier is when you're bad with money. And so I remember that was a big issue. Like, that was I remember my father going to my grandmother and like, what is with all these checks you're writing for this and that and that? And that's very soon after that, or when other things started to follow, and my dad was like, I think we need to go get her checked out. And but see, he was getting educated as it was happening, and this is part of this preparation for a music therapist, is to really understand what's happening and what they're going through. But yeah, I thought about her for another fact too. In the lecture, I got a kick out of that part where he said, like, imagine irritability can increase when you have, let's say you're the head of the family, and then you no longer have that control or that power. Man, my grandmother was the matriarch. She made all the big decisions. She was like, godmother to all of us, and she sat at the head of the table. It was just so very traditional. And when she lost that is when she became more irritable, and she became snapping at my dad, or she began to. And it was hard for him to like, at that point, he was getting more understanding of what she had, but not, he wasn't fully prepared. And with this information that I have now, like, dementia, just to define it, dementia is a neurocognitive disease that's eating away at the brain. So an elderly person, the older that you get, the more your brain deteriorates, and this kind of thing can happen. You can develop this condition and this disease, that is. And Alzheimer's, dementia is more of like a blanket term for this, but Alzheimer's is a very specific, like, eating away at the plaque, and that encompasses, I believe, about 60 to 80% of people with dementia. So you can have both, and that's what my grandmother had. And this is, affecting their speech, their memory, their communication, their overall mood levels, and so, for every part of this that I read, like, I'm already thinking, like, putting myself inside the shoes of a music therapist. How would I use this information if I were to get certified and be my grandmother's music therapist, let's just say, right? And that would be amazing. I would think about the fact that she does in fact have problem with recall. And I do remember her having a really strong connection with music. I remember she asked me, when she found out I was taking singing lessons, she had me record a version of The Wind Beneath My Wings. That was her song for my grandpa. And also Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And that was my last thing that I recorded for her. And she really, really liked it. And it invokes an emotion every time. So something I was just thinking of, like, increasing memory recall. Well, she knows music, and she has good taste too, actually. I was thinking about the musical speech stimulation where they're finishing a lyric. That one would have been so perfect for her, even right now, actually. And I bet, in terms of overall mood levels, that would uptick her mood as well. Because music has always made her smile, honestly. And that would be something that we can measure too, but it just makes me reflect on, you know, what it was like seeing her transition to this now. And it's still her, you know, but within this realm of age, for a human being to be in this, these are just kind of the things that happen. But after reading this, you have all this information now of, like, you know, what somebody with dementia will respond to, right? Like, I remember seeing a video of and the goal was that this patient will be able to recite this many lines in a song, and it's like started with one line and start with two, but it's got to be a recognizable song so that they could recall it. Seeing the efficacy of that, seeing it work, is just like, it's using the tools that you're given as a certified clinician, you know, and applying it. And as I read it, I just think about, you know, how I would apply it to my grandmother, and also how wonderful the stories were about the end of life, especially for hospice. I think it was the patient K in the vignette that had her family record this, really, like, it was the last music session, and record this event where everybody was playing musical instruments together. And to me, it was when the family's response of having that recording, that's something that I can very relate to with my family. You know, my musical family, my father's musician too. But yeah, that was my personal reflection on that section.